Welcome to Backstage Agents. Today we got a special guest, Matt Bogosian, and he's going to talk about YouTube, what it's like to come up in that world in Middle Tennessee, and specifically Spring Hill and Thompson Station. Stick around. So today we have a very special guest, one of Nashville's premier real estate agents. But really, it's Thompson Station.
Yeah.
Is it Spring Hill?
Thompson Station, Spring Hill, South Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of that area. I keep shrinking it because I'm like, don't want to drive too far.
Right.
So.
But YouTuber,
Yeah.
to say the least, right?
Yeah, that's my thing, definitely, for sure.
So, I mean, if you're just learning about Matt Bogosian, like I said, famous YouTuber in this town. It's going to be that way because it just grows upon itself over time, right?
Yeah.
What led you to deciding, hey man, I'm going to go all in on YouTube? I
think when I first started, it was like 2017-ish. So I really haven't been in it that long as far as real estate, but I started going online. I've always been in sales and marketing, and I started following all these guys like out in California. And there's this guy, Kyle Whistle, who's out of the San Diego area. And they're doing all this video on Facebook. And I was like, this is a cool idea. They were like, kind of like they would show restaurants, like go to the Well coffee house and talk about it and what they're doing and put it on Facebook. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing that. And it started getting traction. I'm like, this is cool. Like, people are starting to use me in my neighborhood. And then somehow I saw that people were doing it on YouTube. And I'm like, I'll just take these videos and put them on YouTube. But like, no strategy, no like SEO, no search terms, keywords, not optimizing videos, no thumbnails. And then I just slowly started digging into it like anything else. I mean, like, you guys are in music, like maybe you pick up a guitar and you're like, you slowly start learning different things.
Yep.
Right. And it just morphed. It just grew and grew. And then I'll never forget when I was at my son's school for some like event, and we got out of the car, and this was the first time this happened. This guy's like, hey, you're that Matt Bogosian guy from YouTube. And I was like, man, this feels good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a real cool feeling.
That's why I said famous, bro.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's fame.
It's hilarious to me. So that was like, whoa. And I don't know, maybe that's something with you guys being in the entertainment business. Like, that was like, whoa.
Definitely the first couple of times that happened, you get recognized just out and about after playing a show or before playing a show. And then really quickly, it got really annoying. Like, I'd be like having lunch near the venue, and people would come in like just off the bus, haven't showered. I just looked disheveled, and people are like, I'm like food going in my mouth, and people are like, can I get a picture with you? And it's like, oh my God.
Like, luckily mine spread out enough. Not that many people recognize me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really cool. So like, YouTube's been, and my whole process has been like, all right, just give people, like, try to answer questions people would have about my area. And at first that starts out with like simple stuff. But like this morning, for example, I did a video on a neighborhood that has primarily single level homes in Spring Hill, because there's people that are downsizing and want that. Mm-hmm. And this is a nice neighborhood for that. There's a lot of ones that kind of suck, but this one I thought was really nice. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to show them this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And just, it kind of morphs from there. You figure out your thumbnail and stuff. And
Gotcha.
Just kind of,
So you said you're in sales you've been in sales your whole life?
Yeah.
I mean, your whole professional life?
Yeah.
What'd you sell?
So I started out at Sherwin-Williams Paint Company. And I really was in management with them, but they just pushed so much sales. It was a lot of like sales training. And then from there, I went to the commercial roofing industry working for a manufacturer, which sucked. Dude, I did that for like over 10 years. And I was like, that's how I got into real estate. I remember I was like, this is like the shittiest business. why am I in this? Like, it was such a hard sale. It was like trying to convince people to spend $500,000 on a roof. Yeah.
That sounds like a really hard sell.
Oh, it sucks. I'm like, yeah, my material is a little thicker and like it'll last you a year longer. And people are like, yeah, don't care.
Still not spending $500,000 on a roof.
Yeah. So I did that forever. And I'm like, I got to figure something out. And I started just brainstorming one day. Like, my back was against the wall because I was so miserable, which we've all been in like a position like that.
Yep.
And I was like writing down, I'd also had some rental houses kind of by mistake from 2008. I had to keep them. And so I like was writing down my skill sets. I'm like, why are you not a realtor? Like, I had just bought a house and dealt with like a builder's agent too. No offense to builder's agents. I deal with some really great ones, but this one like clearly didn't hardly know anything.
Yeah.
So
impossible.
I know. I'm just kidding. But she's like driving a Mercedes. I'm working my ass off climbing up on roofs. And I was like, this is not.
They usually have big hoop earrings.
Yeah.
The hair and everything.
Like overly like fake nice to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if she's doing this, I can do this.
That's right.
And that's what got me into real estate. So
Nice. How was that transition for you? Because you said 2018 when you jumped in.
Yeah. It was like, so all my life I was like, you can't, I was working for companies, corporations, and it was like, you just have to be loyal to them. So this one time I was like, I don't care. I'm going to be a real estate agent at the same time and grow my business.
Yeah. Be loyal to yourself.
Yes. Like, I finally was like, I'm so sick of this. So I did, and I'll never forget. I was like posting everywhere. I mean, I didn't hide it. So they found out. They called me to fire me. And I had like $85,000 in commission. This was in 2017 in the pipeline.
At the roofing company?
No, in real estate.
In real estate.
I had built it up, and he's like, Matt, and he was all like worried. I said, hey, dude, here's my laptop. Thank you. I need to go.
Yeah.
The best feeling of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember because I was on a gig where my time had just come and I was hitting the point of straight misery, like waking up and playing the show and just looking at the bottom of the set list, like how fast can we get here tonight so I can be done playing this show, and then made the transition into lending, and it was a great feeling. Just be like, okay, reprioritize, enjoy music again. But it's funny coming from music that you were mentioning that company culture that was so prevalent in the music industry too. And it's like, we're a family, and music is weird too, because you're living with these people 200 days a year. So you get this weird sense of like, these people are your friends, they're your family. And when push comes to shove, they're not. And I realized pretty midway through my career that all I'm doing is working to make somebody else rich at that point.
Yes.
And I'm not making the money that I should be making. And that's when I was like, man, this mortgage lending thing, or real estate in general, it kind of seems, I feel like you're fairly compensated for the work that you do. And it is truly, you're betting on yourself. And you're investing in yourself at that point, as opposed to hitching your wagon onto somebody else and then hoping that their success takes off and then you reap from that success. And I learned that you never reap in the way that you should. And that's when I was like, I think this betting on myself is going to be the better
chance. Like, I do not miss the, like, what I learned in corporate America. And this isn't for every, I'm not making a blanket statement about every company, but I just felt like it was all about like playing the game.
Yeah.
Like looking busy, filling out the reports so they have them, having the increase in sales over last year, like always just stuff that was like BS. For me, like, if I can somehow be effective and do something for 2 hours in a day, like, let's say make a great video and put it on YouTube that's going to attract people to reach out to me. And then the rest of the day, like, spend it with my family. and I don't have to listen to anyone telling me that's like wrong or something. That feels great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what made you, I mean, you're great on camera. That's a skill, right? Would you say? Something that you get better at over time?
Over time, for sure. Because that wasn't something, I don't have any background in that.
But most people would never say, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
You know what? I have this like thing. It was like a challenge and I wanted to conquer it. And I almost feel like that was how real estate felt to me. It was like, here's this challenge. You're not supposed to be able to do this. And I'm like, this would be cool. Let me just try to knock this out of the park. And I think that with video, if you knew me, like I was not in theater in high school, I didn't like to read a lot. Like I wasn't into all that stuff. I wasn't into creative arts or anything. I wish now that I was. I wish I was like, forgot about trying to be like cool and like did all that stuff. I try to tell my kids that, like, and I think the world's different now since all the social media, kids are a little bit more into that. But so yeah, there was no background. And so I think it was, in my eyes, it was such a challenge to get in front of a camera and be able to talk to people and look natural. I just wanted to try to overcome it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know if it was like an affliction. Like I think a lot of musicians just have or songwriters for sure. They have this thing about them. Like I have to say what I need to say. I have something here I must put out there. Or no, if some musicians are the same, it's like you're compelled to do it.
I definitely had
Did you have the compulsion?
I think I have like I still kind of have it, like this chip on my shoulder. I think from being in that working, like I worked under so many guys at the paint company and at the roofing companies where they were like these older guys. And I'll never forget, I interviewed at this one roofing company and so how much do you want us to pay you? And I remember I was like, $75,000. And he was like, why in the world would I ever pay someone like you $75,000? And then I was kind of like, I guess he's right. And they offered me like 60 and I accepted it. And like, that's just like pisses me off thinking about it. Cause I like I know how much more I'm worth now. So maybe I just have this like chip on my shoulder, I think, which trickles out.
Yeah. That was coming from music. Because it's such a high supply and demand field. There's a ton of supply. And I've spent my life refining a skill to the top 1%. But you would go and you'd have the conversation with the business manager and be like, this is how much money I want. And they'd be like, that's insane. We're going to pay you this much. And it's barely enough to live. And you're like, well, okay, if I don't say yes, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And they got people lined up down the street for this. This is the opportunity of a lifetime, so to speak. And I just got so sick of dealing with that. It's like I've spent 20 years of my life getting good at a skill. And that's what I like about real estate. It doesn't take nearly as much time to refine that skill set. And then you get compensated well for the job that you do, and it's all stuff that you generate. It's from relationships that you foster and clients and all that stuff. And it started to make a lot more sense than music and being pulled into these rooms and told you're not worth that much money.
Yeah. It's funny. It's hard when you get into these careers, we have these like stories, and it doesn't just, because I look back and I'm like, why when I was 18 did I not just become a realtor? But when I was 18, I didn't go through all that to be able to morph into what I'm doing now. So, yeah, it's interesting how that works. Like,
where'd you grow up? I should have started with that.
I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts called Boylston, Massachusetts.
Okay, so you're not a local.
No.
Do you think? So it's like YouTube. A lot of people I've heard is like the new kind of like passive cold calling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's doing the work around the clock. So do you think that, moving to, how long you've been in this town or?
Gosh. So I came to Tennessee in 1996 for college at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Because I mean, like, right, that's what you did, right? It was following the path. Like, you go to college, you get a job for a company, and you just listen to them. And so I didn't know about any of this world. That's what's cool about real estate too. It kind of like opened that up for me. But yeah, and then I met my wife, who's from southern middle Tennessee, like Columbia area. And it just got me here.
Got you here.
So I've been here a while, really.
Nice.
But yeah, it's I mean, going back to YouTube, I'm just thinking of a recent example. I did a drive-through video of a Del Webb retirement community in Spring Hill. And instead of like being real stiff, I'll put just for the people watching and listening so they can just get like a nugget on how to do some of this. Put a GoPro on a suction cup on your hood. All right. And you'll start like outside the neighborhood and you hit record. And then in your car, simultaneously, you can put your phone or a camera, whatever you want to do. I use a camera, but that's a rabbit hole that you can go down that can be crazy.
Yeah.
I suggest just using your phone and have it pointing at you. And then start driving and talk about the neighborhood. And that's what I did. And I was like, I don't try to be proper either most of the time. So I was like, man, when I'm 45, I got 10 years and I can move into this place. And I was saying, I can't wait. And I was being serious because it looked pretty cool. And I drove around and I'm like, oh my God, there's like a pool and there's no kids there. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And then I go home and I put the GoPro footage up and then I shrink my face with like a circle around it in the bottom corner. And then I labeled the video like retire in Spring Hill, Tennessee, Del Webb or whatever I did. I can't remember. And then I do the description. I write a lot of Spring Hill, Del Webb, retire. Like I pick some keyword phrases and I posted it. That video has been up for a while, doing really well. On, I think it was Saturday, I went under contract for a house in there for a buyer that's $950,000.
So it works.
That he found me, saw the video, he liked my personality. He did ask me about commissions because of all this new crap.
Yeah. How did you navigate that conversation?
It's kind of like, it felt like that.
Yeah.
No, you know what I told him? I said, look, we've always had, everything's always been negotiable. They're changing it where the sellers cannot post the commission on the MLS now. So we're kind of like going in blind, but we're not. And what we're going to do is you're going to have to sign this buyer's rep agreement saying that there's a commission. I will not blindside you with having to pay me anything unless you know upfront. We can amend anything. I am negotiable. We can talk. Like I'm not drawing a line in the sand and going to make you pay something if you don't feel I'm worth it or whatever. And he was just like, that's cool. I just wanted to know I'm not going to get stuck with some like he said $30,000 fee to pay you because I just don't have that extra money. I said, no. I said, if we have to cancel this, whatever, I don't care. And it turns out it was fine. The seller was paying it and we moved on.
Yeah.
So
your first deal from YouTube. Talk
man.
about that. I want to hear. I mean, just like getting, recognized in public.
Yeah.
It had to have been the day when somebody reached out to you.
Yeah.
And then there's the first closing.
What is the first closing? So I remember the feeling like you're making these videos and it's like, is this going to work? And someone, like the way it goes down is so crazy. You get a call and it's like, hey, Matt. And I'm like, hey, this is Kathy from Oklahoma. And I'm like, oh, hey, Kathy, my husband and I have watched all your videos. We love you. We think you're hilarious. We're moving to Tennessee. Okay. We really like the Del Webb community. And we've already seen a house that we actually like. And we're going to be in town next week. Could you show it to us? And maybe a couple others. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, let's do it. And it's so cool. So then they've watched all these videos that I have up there. So when they show up to meet, we usually meet at like a coffee shop. There's no cold feeling. Like they already know you.
That's interesting.
That's like you're a celebrity.
It's so like we hug. Hey, there's not like I can meet somebody new and not have that cold feeling, but some people can't. I can see that they don't have it because they've seen me on video. So it's super warm already. And there's no like a few of them, but for the most part it's not like we're talking to 4 agents and we're here to interview you. That's like not my business.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll talk to someone, but like normally people reach out to me because they've seen me, and
it's like rate shoppers.
Yeah.
You'll talk to them. But
Yeah.
it's not the business that I'm tracking down.
No, because that's like annoying. That's just, you want someone that trusts you and already knows you. So it just like does that. And then you talk to them and then you go look at homes and they write an offer. I mean, it's such a great business model.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I mean,
now are you stuck because like they always want you, I would imagine?
Yeah, as far as like,
You can only be at one place. Like the internet and the YouTube could be prospecting at all times, right?
right. Yeah.
But they want you.
Yeah. That I do
How do
run
you deal
into
with
that.
that? I mean,
Well, so I have done the whole time. I haven't had a transaction coordinator, assistant, anything like that. Finally, so going like, I know kind of where you're heading with that question. And like, I'm like, okay, I've got all this stuff on my plate. It is a lot of work. I kind of need to be out, and I don't mind showing houses and meeting with people, but I need to start freeing time somewhere. I finally ran into someone that was like recommended a transaction coordinator, and I talked to him and everything aligned, and it's been amazing. That's really helped. I don't do as much paperwork. I don't hunt down like utility companies anymore, like that stuff. So that's helped. So trying to plug in, I also have an editor for my videos that I use now, because I still edit a lot of my own videos, but that takes a lot of time. So this guy I can send him to, and he's local and does a great job. That kind of clears that up.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I have to do the work still.
right.
I don't,
It is still a job.
Yeah. I guess I could like eventually say team. And I've done this where I was so busy I had to like pay another agent to show for me. And the people were fine with that. So, I mean, that's kind of a model I could do moving forward, have somebody open the doors for me. And I don't know. We'll just have to see where it grows, what it grows to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who do that. I haven't seen, like, what happens when they want to retire? You're memorializing yourself.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of evergreen content.
Yeah. I know. Like, maybe my kids have to take
Like
it
20
over.
years from now,
Yeah.
they're going to have 10 billion views.
Yeah. I will say, because I've talked to a few people, there's a lot of people doing YouTube right now, or starting to. That there's this like mindset where a lot of guys don't want to put in the work. They want to create videos to just get referrals right away.
Yeah.
I get that model, but the problem is it's the personality and the connection and all of that gets the business.
Takes time.
Yeah. So like they're doing more videos that are like I'm just making up a name here. Like, hey, I'm John, and today's video is going to be about Nashville. Also, hey, if you're looking to buy or sell, call me. And then they do a little bit, hey, call me. My team is ready to help you. And it's like every couple seconds. Well, then it's clearly a sales
Yeah. And
video.
like our goal with this is like the world doesn't need more real estate content. Like we just want to showcase the person and what's unique about them, especially with the NAR settlement. And like I think more than ever, it's about the person that you're doing business with. And I see so much of that online where it's like, hey, send me a referral right now, and I'd love to show you a house. And it isn't that easy. I wish it was that easy.
I know. I really struggle. I struggle with posting, like if I have a closing or a listing goes under contract. I just don't like to do it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I did post. I just had a closing and the couple was awesome. And they had like a cool little story of what they were looking for in a house. So I posted them a picture of them in front of the house and I showed what they were looking for and how we got it. which was cool. It still feels like wrong of me it feels like bragging. I can't stand doing that. So like when I see a lot of agents out there, it's like they think that's what they need to do to get business. And I'm like, ugh, don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's with YouTube. Like, I think with YouTube, my advice would just be like, just give. Don't expect anything in return. Just keep giving, and people will know you're a realtor and will reach out.
Right. Comes across.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I gave that advice yesterday. I told the guy, I said, just stop asking.
Yeah.
And you're free with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that like teams and places I've worked, people I've worked around, they don't want to talk about the secret sauce about anything. And you come here and you openly share in this market, this is where you work.
Yeah.
You know, and telling people how to do it. Put the camera on the phone, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's really cool.
Yeah. And I'm open to that. I've said it. If anyone ever wants to chat about like figuring out a way to do videos, I have learned there's like not an answer. You can't just do it like everybody else. Like what I just described about my neighborhood tour might not be a good fit for somebody for whatever reason, but like you have to explore and figure out what your fit is.
Yeah.
I mean, like music, what your kind you're going to play and instruments.
Yeah. It's funny. When I came down to Nashville, I had a singular goal, which was to pay my bills playing music, which 10 years later, I figured out is very hard doing what I do. And I had a great run with many great artists, and I still will jump out and play, and I love playing. But when I moved down, it was so broad in terms of, I just want to play bass guitar, and I don't know what that means. And then the more that I went through Nashville and the more time I spent in town, that got more and more refined, where it was like, man, maybe I don't want to be playing this kind of music, and maybe I want to be geared towards doing very specific. And I played with an artist, Ashley McBride, for 5 years, and she is produced by a guy by the name of Jay Joyce. And I had, prior to this, was starting to look at records in Nashville and going, man, who is producing the records that I am actually going to sit down and listen to? Because there's so much trash out there.
Yeah.
There's so much bad music out there. And I started seeing record after record, especially, this was probably 2014, 15, this guy's name, Jay Joyce. And then I would look at these records and see that, oh, he's not using the standard guys in the studio. He's using the live bands and on these records, and I really like the records. He produces Eric Church, Brothers Osborne. I mean, huge artists. And it's funny, I remember I opened a show for the Brothers Osborne, and I didn't quite get it. This was probably, I want to say 2015, 16. And when I heard their record, I was like, man, I don't know if I get this yet. Then I saw them live, and it clicked. And it's funny, that moment for me was like, I want to be doing something like, I want a project like this. And I remember coming back into town, sitting down with a very good friend of mine who now plays drums for the artist Hardy. And we were sitting down having lunch, and I was like, man, I think I figured it out. I want to be playing for an artist who is produced by this Jay Joyce guy, because I want a chance to play on the records and have a little bit of ownership of something, play on these records, and have something that's more of a band, organic type feel. And once I started putting that out there, a year later, I got the call for Ashley, who's produced by Jay Joyce, and got to play on two
awesome.
records with her. And so it is like that, refining what you do as you get into something. It definitely helps. Now on the lending side of things, like I got in, it's like, I want to close loans, which you know, I'll close whoever's loans, but it's, now my whole thing is like, send me your 1099 people, your self-employed musician. Like, I know what to do with those people. Yeah. And I will get that across the finish line. And it took, you get your elevator pitch down and all that stuff. And it kind of just took some time of figuring out within the lending space of what I wanted to do and kind of focus on. And then I really just was like, you know what? I am a musician. I know how to converse with these people. They can be a little bit squirrely sometimes. Their income can be a little bit difficult.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a bit of a longer play, but I like doing it. And I like helping people in my community that I'm still in on this other side of my life, and really have refined that. And now that's basically what I tell people. It's like, send me your 1099 clients and I will be happy to handle them, even if it's a longer play, and walk them through filing taxes and all this good stuff. And, you know, obviously I will do other clients, but that's really what I've come down to now. You narrow in on this, kind of like what you're saying in the areas, your Thompson Station and Spring Hill. You get very, I don't want to say niche heavy, but you get very specific on, and it's something that you want to focus on. And I think once you get specific on something, it really, you're able to put that out there and articulate it really well. And then the people who are looking for that thing are going to gravitate towards that.
Yes. That is like such a great point that I did make earlier, like for sure, because you're like a specialist, and people want to deal with a specialist. Like if I'm looking for something that, I don't know whatever, coffee. I went to this coffee shop because they are actually like specialists with this pour over coffee. And I had it in my mind that I wanted to pour over coffee. I knew that they did it. I went up there. I paid $10 for this, but it was like, man, this is, and she like had the timer and she was doing the warming up the cup and everything. So for sure, that's been like, with specializing in Thompson Station and Spring Hill, people can mention a neighborhood and I'll say, well, you might not want to live there because you're going to Nashville for work and you have to turn left on Buckner Road and that road is a mess. Just warning you, if you're okay with that, that's fine. It's hard to do that. Like if I tried to be all of Middle Tennessee, like I can't. Nashville, every time I come up here, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a different world.
That's how I feel every time I go down to Spring Hill or Thompson Station, because I'm down there so seldom.
I know. That is funny when it comes to that. That's a good point. Like going in the YouTube videos, it like I'll try to think of like a video like things to do in Thompson Station, and it's tough. Not a lot. Like maybe the things like go to Nashville Cigar. We don't have that like in Thompson Station. We do have
you have a place that says Cigar on some little building.
Oh yeah, down in Spring Hill.
Yeah. I think it's called Cigar.
Yeah, just cigar place.
Cigar place.
We do have First Bank Amphitheater though, which
oh yeah, I was just there.
Yep, it's a good place, isn't it?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Who did you see?
John Fogerty.
Okay, at least I thought you were going to say the Backstreet Boys.
I think that's where I was.
Yeah, that's where you are.
Yeah,
it's
for
awesome.
sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
really cool.
I saw the Counting Crows there, and I was like, man, this is such a great venue.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's like a quarry, right? It has all brick behind it, or they carved it out. Dynamite.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I loved seeing the Counting Crows, by the way. It brought back so many memories.
Yeah.
He was so good, too. He was funny and just, it was a good show.
Nice.
I'm not, when it comes to music, I'm like the last person you want to talk to, though.
Same here. I mean, if the people who are in the music business are some of the most disgruntled customers for music, don't like to listen to music, lost the joy of music.
Yeah, see, you're my favorite because you actually still enjoy the magic of music.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was saying, I don't really love going to shows anymore. Like I rather sit at home. Like I don't like dealing with the people. I don't, all big crowds, not my thing. And I've just seen it. Once you've seen as many shows as I've seen and been a part of, I'm 3 songs in and I'm like, okay, I know the drill. I'm ready to go home. But I do love going to shows with people who still think it's magic.
And just, I remember
watching them enjoy it.
Like I go to a show like once every 2 years. I remember I saw Linkin Park when the lead singer was still around, and we saw it in Nashville, and I was like blown away. I left and I was like, I had no idea how talented these people are, because he was rapping, singing, playing guitar, running over to the drums. And I was like, I didn't know these people had all this talent like that. I was just never mind the music, which I thought was great. I was blown away by their abilities to do that. I'm even like that here recently with Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Dude is talented. I mean, he's doing like gangster rap and then singing like a love song.
Yeah.
Guitar. I think he plays drums.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe someone can do all that.
That's awesome, man.
He's a character, man. So I've heard.
He seems interesting.
Yeah.
So you're a rock star with video.
That's right.
And we're just starting this podcast, really.
Yeah.
How can we make it better?
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just going to use that specialty knowledge you got. Right?
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, you must have saw something. They could probably do this. What was that thing you saw?
I think a lot of it, I mean, you're doing the right thing, having different people on and like talking about different subjects. I think that's great. I mean, I think a lot of it goes into like when you produce the titles and the maybe on the podcast, you have thumbnails.
That's what I was getting at. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to optimize it for YouTube,
Yeah.
how would you do that?
Yeah. Gosh, like, so on this one, I think I would probably focus on realtors in video because we talked about that. Like, so I would try to come up with a title. I'd just start writing down like realtor, video,
Matt Bogosian,
YouTube,
Spring Hill.
Matt Bogosian. And like, I would try to put words together to come up with an idea for a title that's kind of going to be searchable.
Do you come up with those yourself or do you chat GPT it?
A little of both.
Okay.
Yeah, I still struggle with that. That's a really hard part of the YouTube game is thumbnails
Right.
and the titles.
Right.
But like I have found one of my favorite kinds of thumbnails are like me at the location or doing some kind of action. So like maybe the thumbnail would be us just smiling, like sitting here.
Yeah.
Or like standing up or something like instead of trying to like doctor it up and make it look too fake. Because I try to think about when I watch a lot of YouTube myself. I don't know if you guys do.
Yeah.
But like I'll be going through and I'm like, what video makes me want to click? And I'm like, that one. Like, and I'll just try to pay attention to what it is in that video. Like Casey, have you heard of Casey Neistat?
Yep.
Or Neistat? He just has, if you look, he doesn't use a lot of words in his thumbnails. It's like a picture of him, like, you know, ripping something apart. And you're like, you're just like, man, what's he doing?
Is that? Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a very important part of it. And it's,
I mean, it starts there. If
Yeah.
they don't click on that thumbnail,
yeah,
they're not going to watch the thing.
right. Yeah, that's the tough part about it. I will say, like, what I do, I want that stuff and I'm working on it, but I'm not like super high views, super high subscribers. I'm looking for people that are searching. That it's crazy. There's these people out there that, let's say the retired couple, that they're searching for information to see a neighborhood. They don't care about the fluff. They don't care about some fake title and you making a weird face. They just want to like see the neighborhood, and it could be 20 minutes long. They'll watch it and they'll call you. Now, 95% of the other people will only watch 30 seconds, 2 minutes, and they won't call. But you just want to capture those ones that would call. So for me, that's what I'm trying to do, which is a struggle because like, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I don't have a lot of views. So like I know that I'm getting the calls and making money and doing good stuff with it. But like, I also don't have that recognition of the likes and subscribes.
But you're also not like doing title, like, hey, Ryman Auditorium, which would drive all this traffic. You're answering a specific question.
Yeah. I'm very niche down. Like
it's
not
a search engine type situation.
Like Spring Hill, Thompson Station does not get a lot of traffic. People do search it though, because they're moving there, but it's very like low traffic. Spring Hill gets more search traffic. Nashville gets a ton, but now you're getting stuck in like a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's the difficulty. Like, how can you stand out? And I think going back to what you talked about, like if I was up in Nashville, I would not try to cover it all.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I'm in Germantown. Even though I would work outside of Germantown or do loans outside of 1099s, I'd just be like, I'm sticking to Germantown and I'm going to create like 20 videos about it. And then just take it from there.
So if we had a backstage agent channel, would it make sense to do anything else on that channel, or would it hurt the channel if you did something other than if our channel did something other than a podcast? Would that hurt us?
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that can hurt it a little bit. And
some people think it all live in one space.
Yeah. And like it hurts it. It depends. So like I have some videos out there where I mountain bike, and I was like, I'm going to show people what some mountain bike trails are like. And that was cool. And I've gotten calls from people that are mountain bikers. It hurts you with the algorithm though, because I'm doing a retirement community.
You're right.
And then I'm doing a mountain bike.
The algorithm doesn't know what to do with it.
But if Christian was playing a gig, would that hurt our channel? Because he's probably going to play a gig.
If he played it, I don't know. I'd have to really go through it and see. I don't know that it would like kill it or anything.
I'm just thinking of this off the
stuff. No, for sure. It's tough though. I struggle with this stuff every day. It makes a lot of agents will quit because they don't get views and likes and subscribes. So they'll make a couple videos and then they fall off. I think the key is just like keep making them and be consistent, and people will find them. It's but you're probably not going to be Mr. Beast. Like, you're not going to.
You don't really want to be these days, from what I hear.
Dude, seriously,
he has problems.
He has some serious problems.
No offense. I didn't mean any
no
of that,
offense.
So,
I'm open to everybody. Just do whatever you want.
Don't take us down. But man, it's I haven't known you forever. We met at an event where I was playing music, and that kind of drew us together. And but I mean, this is the most I've gotten to know you, because you live in Spring Hill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I live in Nashville, and there's worlds apart. It's hard to get up there for traffic. I'd meet you all the time if it would be easy.
No, I know. I was thinking that driving up. I'm like, but every time I come up to Nashville, I'm like, why am I not up in Nashville more?
Because it's hard to get here sometimes.
I know.
That traffic.
I did get an offer. I am going August 30th to see Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, someone else. The only problem I have is Green Day has a song called American Idiot, and I'm singing it, and I'm like, I feel like he's talking about me as I sing along to it, but whatever. It sounds good.
It's a good song. It's a good song. I remember when I was real small when that came out.
Yeah.
And that song was banned in my household. But
because it's like they're a band. Like, I'm glad to go see them though. Like, I kind of need to I listened to them growing up. But yeah, that song, it's here recently. I'm like, I don't know that I support American Idiot. Like,
but doesn't he say, I don't want to be an American?
So he
don't want to be.
Right.
Kind of sets it.
But I'm like, am I the American Idiot? Like, are you talking about me?
Yeah, right.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, that's. I remember when that record came out. They've made great records consistently over the years, which is awesome to see, because a lot of bands they'll fall off after a couple of records. And it's just not the same. So it's that'll be a great show. Where's that show at?
It's actually at Geodis.
Okay, Geodis.
Yeah, Geodis. Yeah.
Yep.
The soccer stadium. So like, we go to the soccer games. So I'm like, that'll be interesting. That's good shit. It'll be cool.
I think Shania did a show last year there. And then Def Leppard, I think, did a show there with Carrie Underwood. So
interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah. We did. I took the family to see Ed Sheeran at Nissan.
Yep.
You know what? Like, I think Ed Sheeran is awesome, obviously. But like, it was too big of a place. It didn't feel right at all. We were like, I
didn't like playing stadiums, like, because it feels the same way from the stage too.
Okay.
I mean, I played Mercedes-Benz opening for George Strait And it's probably the most people I've ever played for, but because we were playing, like, we were the first of like 5 bands that day, and we were probably playing to like 40,000 people, but you could put almost 80,000 people in that room. So it just, you walk out and you're like, this is really weird. Like, this is probably the most people I've ever played for, but it feels like it's empty.
That is, yeah. It didn't feel like, I was thinking, man, I need to see him play like sitting on a stool in a room like this, like with an acoustic guitar. Like, that's what I would envision being a good experience. So,
yeah. Well, awesome. I think that's a good place to
dude.
wrap it
So
up.
happy to have you. It's definitely cool to have you here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's about
sure.
time.
Thank you for taking the time to come and shoot the breeze with us and share your experience and knowledge with us.
Yeah. And I know we didn't hardly get into a lot. So if like there's a realtor that reaches out to you guys that has some questions, like, I don't mind. I'll share. If anyone wants to know anything,
Yeah, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Probably if you just search my name, Matt Bogosian, and go to my YouTube videos, there's a link in the description, and they can schedule an appointment on my calendar.
Nice.
That's just easier, just because it's like less friction, and they can just schedule a time that works for them. So
definitely go on and watch every Matt Bogosian video. And we thank you very much for coming here today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yep.